Hi, my name's Hunter. In this video I'm going to help you prepare for the math section of your SAT test. The way I like to do that is by showing you how I would take this test myself. So today I'm going to be going through the non-calculator portion of the official SAT practice test number 1. I believe there are 8 official practice tests available through College Board, available through their website for anyone to take. So full disclosure, I have looked through this test already, but I have not taken it yet, so I don't promise to be perfect. But I do have a degree in math and work in the data science field, so I have a good bit of experience solving questions of this nature. So I'm going to try to be as accurate as I can in solving these questions, and more importantly, I'm going to try to be as efficient as I can. In the non-calculator portion, you have 25 minutes to solve 20 questions, so that's a fast pace. That's gives you just a little bit over a minute per question. So I think ultimately you're going to be better off getting perhaps 90% of all of the questions correct, than maybe getting 100% of half of the questions correct. So without further ado, let me stop talking and start my timer, and we can begin. Good, so timer started. Let's look at question 1. So question 1. If x minus 1 over 3 is equal to k, and k is equal to 3, what is the value of x? Good, so we need to substitute 3 in for k. We can say x minus 1 over 3 is equal to 3. Multiply both sides by 3. That gives us x minus 1 is equal to 9. Add 1 to both sides to get root of this term. It's negative. We say x equals 10. Good. Answer D, 10. Final answer. All right. Question 2. For I is equal to the square root of negative 1, what is the sum of 7 plus 3i plus negative 8 plus 9 plus 9i? Good. So let's combine our like terms. 7 minus 8, that gives us minus 1. 3i plus 9i, that gives us 12i. Good. Negative 1 plus 12i. Answer A. All right. So let's see. Question 3. On Saturday afternoon, Armand sent M text messages each hour for 5 hours, and Tyrone sent P text messages each hour for 4 hours. Which of the following represents the total number of messages sent by Armand and Tyrone on Saturday? So 5 per hour for m hours, that gives us 5m, and let's see, Tyrone was P, he has 4 per hour, P messages per hour for 4 hours, so that gives us 4p. So number of messages sent is given by 5m plus 4p. Answer C, good. Okay, question 4. Kathy is a repair technician for a phone company. Each week she receives a batch of phones that need repairs. The number of phones that she has left to fix at the end of each day can be estimated with the equation P equals 108 minus 23D, where P is the number of phones. Good, so P is the number of phones left, and D is the number of days she's worked. So every day she repairs 23 phones. So what is the meaning of 108 in the value? So Kathy will complete the repairs within 108 days. It does not say that. Kathy starts each week with 108 phones to fix. That looks correct. We have a constant of 108 here. Let's just double check. Let's look at C and D and make sure neither of those are correct. Kathy repairs rates a phone of 108 per hour. No, she repairs them at 23 per day. Kathy repairs phones at a rate of 108 per day. No, we said 23 per day. Okay, so answer B is our answer. Let's move on to the next question. So question 5, it looks like we have 2 polynomials that we are combining. Let's see, which of the following is equivalent to the expression of also two expressions we're combining. Let's see. So the first thing I'm going to do is make this minus sign into a plus sign. You don't have to do this to solve this, but for me it's easier to think of it as in terms of adding these. So I'm going to change the sign rather of each term here. So let's combine our like terms now. X squared times y plus, and we have an x squared plus y, x squared times y over here. That gives us 2x squared y. Now we have a minus 3y plus a positive 3y. Those cancel out and are 0. Positive 5xy squared. And we have minus 3xy squared. That gives us 2xy squared, positive 2xy squared. It's 2xy squared. Okay, are these any of our answers? Let's see. 2x squared. All right, answer C. Good. Next question. Question 6. So h equals 3a plus 28.6, okay? So our equation, a pediatrician uses the model above to estimate the height h of a boy in inches, in terms of the boy's age a in years between the ages of 2 and 5. Based on the model, what is the estimated increase? We're looking at the increase each year. That's important. It's not over all 3 years, it's each year. So our constant term is irrelevant here. We want to know how much it's changing each year. That is 3. A represents the years. 3 are next to the term A, so 3 per year. In other words, answer A is our answer. All right. 7. What do we have here? Something messy. All right, I'm going to read the question first. Let's see. The formula above gives the monthly payment M needed to pay off a loan of P dollars at R % annual interest over N months. Which of the following gives P in terms of M, R, and N? Okay, so we want to isolate P. How can we do that? Well, first we need to get rid of this whole term next to it. So how can we do that? We can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of this term. The reciprocal means that we flip the numerator and the denominator, and we can multiply both sides of the equation by that to isolate P. So in other words, we're going to have this on top. This whole numerator is, the whole denominator will become the numerator will become the denominator, and it will all be multiplied with M. So let's see which equation looks like that. Remember, we need the denominator that needs to be on top. This term needs to be on top. So that's not the case in A, no. P, that is the case, and the denominator looks good as well. This term here, it appears here. Let's just double check, look at C and D. Neither of those is that the case. So that means our answer must be B. All right. If A over B is equal to 2, what is the value of 4B over A? Good, so we can rewrite 2 as 2 over 1. So we can say 2 over 1 is equal to A over B. So in other words, A is equal to 2, B is equal to 1. So now we can substitute in here. So we can say 4 times B, remember B is equal to 1, so 4 times 1 over A, and we said A is equal to 2. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so 2 is our answer, and answer C is going to be our answer. All right, so we have, looks like a system of equations. Yes, so what is the solution xy to the system of equations above? All right, so we're going to need to solve for the values x and y in this equation. Let's see, there's one tricky point here. In the first equation, we have our x term first and our y term second. In our second equation, we have the y term first and our x term second. It's not a problem, but you do need to be aware of that and make sure you don't mix x and y up. So I'm just going to rewrite them in the same order. So I'm going to say 3x plus 4y is equal to minus 23. Good. And in the denominator, I'm going to rewrite this. So x comes first, minus x plus 2y is equal to minus 19. Good. So let's see. How can we get rid of one of these terms? I'm going to multiply the second equation by 3 and add that to the first equation. So we're going to have minus 3x. That's going to be added to positive 3x and cancel out and equal 0. So we can say minus 3x, I'm just going to write it out, plus 6y equals minus 19 times 3. That's going to be 60 minus 3. So it's going to be minus 57. All right, and I'm going to add this to our first equation up here. So 3x plus 4y equals, and we have minus 23. Good, so remember, these terms cancel out. That's why we multiplied by 3. We're going to add our 6y and our 4y. That's going to give us 10y is equal to minus 57 plus minus 23. So let's see. That is going to be equal to negative 80. All right. So we're going to divide both sides now by 10 to isolate our y. Y is equal to minus 8. All right. And let's look at our answers. So if we look at our answers, there's only one solution in which our y is equal to negative 8. So we don't even need to solve for x because we know that there's only one instance of the y value being equal to negative 8, and that is b. So b is going to be our answer, and we're trying to be efficient here, so let's move on. So we have a function g of x equals ax squared plus 24. Okay, so for the function g defined above, a is a constant and g of 4 is equal to 8. What is the value of g of negative 4? So let's see, let's substitute in. So 4 is going to be our x value. So we can say 8 is equal to a times remember our x value is 4, a times 4 squared plus 24. All right, let's solve this equation. First thing I'm going to do is we can square our 4 terms, so we can say 8 is equal to a times 16 plus 24. All right, subtract 24 from both sides. That gives us minus 16 equals a times 16. Divide both sides by 16. That gives us minus 1 is equal to a. Okay, good. So that's not our final answer, though. For our final answer, we're going to need to substitute this value in for a and our negative 4 in for x. So we can say g of negative 4 equals, let's see, remember a is negative 1. Our x term is minus 4 squared, and then plus 24. All right, minus 4 squared, negative times a negative gives us a positive, so this is equal to negative 1 times 16 plus 24. Negative 1 times 16 gives us negative 16. Negative 16 plus 24 is going to give us 8, so positive 8. Let's see if that's one of our answers, and it is. Good. Okay, so answer A is going to be our answer. So how are we doing on time? 10 minutes, and we've done 10 questions. We got to pick up the pace a little bit. So in the equations above, B and C represent the price per pound in dollars of beef and chicken respectively, X weeks after July 1st during summer. Okay. What was the price per pound of beef when it was equal to the price of chicken? So, alright, let's set these two equations equal to each other, and first we can find out after how many weeks they were equal in price. So we can say 2.35 plus 25x is equal to 1.75 plus 0.4x. Alright, let's combine our like terms. I'm going to subtract 0.25x from both sides, so we can say 2.35 is equal to 1.75 minus 0.4 minus 0.25. That's going to give us 0.15x. Good. Now I'm going to subtract, excuse me, this is plus 0.15x. Now I'm going to subtract 1.75 from both sides. 2.35 minus 1.75, that's going to give us 0.25 is going to be 0.6 is equal to 0.15x. So, okay, moving along, let's see. Divide both sides by 0.15x, that's going to give us 4 is equal to x. All right, so again, that's not our final answer, though. We're going to need to substitute that into our equation for the price of beef. Okay, so 2.35 plus, I'm sorry if this is getting a little bit messy, 2.35 plus 0.25 times 4. This is just equal to 1, so 1 plus 2.35, b is equal to this, is equal to 3.35. Good, that's one of our answers. Answer D. Let's move along. Okay. Number 12. A line in the xy plane passes through the origin and has a slope of 1/7. Which of the following points lies on the line? So remember, this is rise over run. In other words, 1 is going to be the y value, 7 is going to be the x value. So our value for x needs to be 7 times as large as our value for 1. That excludes a, goes to the origin 0, 0, not 0, 7. This is the inverse. This is x is 1/7 the size. We need x to be 7 times as large. It's not going to be that. Not going to be this either. And in D, our x value 14 is 7 times as large as our y value 2. So that is going to be our answer. Okay, let's move along. If x is greater than 3, which of the following is equivalent? So we have something a bit messy again. Let's see. So none of our answers have fractions in the denominator. So I think the first step to simplifying this is going to be to get rid of our fractions in the denominator. We can multiply a fraction. We can multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same value without changing the value of the fraction. So to get rid of these terms, I'm going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by x plus 2 and by the terms x plus 2 and x plus 3. So I'm going to say x plus 2 and x plus 3 that's our numerator. I'm just going to leave this up here for now, just to try to keep it a bit cleaner. I'm going to write the denominator by itself right here. So I'm going to say x plus 2 times x plus 3, and that's going to be multiplied with 1 over x plus 2, yes, 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3. Alright, so we're going to distribute these to each term within the parentheses. X plus 2, x plus 2, okay, so these are both going to be multiplied here. X plus 2 is going to cancel out. We're going to be left with x plus 3. X plus 3, when we multiply here, we distribute, let's see, our x plus 3 over x plus 3 is going to cancel out, and we're just going to be left with x plus 2 plus x plus 3. This is our denominator, so we can write our whole equation out as, let's see, I'm going to write the numerator x plus 2 times x plus 3. Remember, this was our numerator. I'm just going to write it here, write it over our denominator. Our denominator, I'm going to combine the like terms as I write it out. So we have 2x terms, that gives us 2x, 3 plus 3 is 6. What am I missing? This should be, let me see. This should have been x plus 2. I'm sorry about that. This should have been x plus 2. 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. Alright, so 2x plus 5. And what do we have here that looks like this? If we multiply these together, let's see. If we multiply these terms together, we are going to have x squared plus 2x plus 3x is going to be 5x. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 6. Okay, over, let me see, 2x plus 5. And that is going to be answer B. Okay, let's move along. Question 14. Let's try and pick up the pace a little bit. Let me see, 3x minus, we're 15 minutes in. 3x minus y is equal to 12. What is the value of 8 to the x over 2 to the y? Okay. We need the same base to simplify this. So we can rewrite 8 as 2 to the third. So I'm going to say 2 to the third to the x over 2 to the y. And remember, 2 to the third, 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8, so we can rewrite this. Remembering our rules of exponents and exponent 2 to the third raised to the x, we multiply. So we're going to have 2 to the 3x over 2 to the y. Now again, remembering our rules of exponents, we're dividing here, so we have the same base. So we can say this is equivalent to 2 to the 3x minus y. So we're subtracting the numerator, we're subtracting the exponent in the denominator from the exponent in the numerator, keeping the base. So let's see, and we have here 3x minus y is equal to 12, so we can rewrite this as 2 to the 12. Okay, so 2 to the 12 is our answer A, and that worked out. Okay, moving along, 15. If ax plus 2 is equal, ax plus 2 times bx plus 7 is equal to 15x squared plus cx plus 4 for all values of x, and a plus b is equal to 8. What are two possible values for b and c? So a and b, these two terms added together they equal 8. And we can see multiplied together they equal 15. So what numbers can we use that added together equal 8, multiplied together equal 15? 3 and 5. 3 and 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. 3 plus 5 is 8. So we could say a is equal to b. A is equal to 3 and b is equal to a equals 3. B equals 5. Okay, so we need, if we substitute these in here for a and b and multiply out, we are going to have 3x plus 2 times 5x plus 7. I'm going to write this down. 3x plus 2 times 5x plus 7. Okay, So we're going to have 3x times 7, that's going to be 21x, or 21x, and 2 times 5, that's going to be 10x, plus 10x equals 31 mx. So C1 answer is 31. And I only see one answer here in which that's the case. I'm not going to switch these terms, but if we switch these terms and use 5 for A, and let B equal to 3, then we should find that 41 is the other answer, but we're not doing great on time, so I'm going to try to move along here. Let's see, we're on to the so we're on to the portion in which we need to find our own answer. There are no multiple choices. T is greater than 0 and t squared is equal to 4. What is the value of t? So we know t must be positive. I'm going to say t squared. I'm just going to add 4 to both sides. That will cancel out. Minus 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. T squared is equal to positive 4. And square root of both sides, square root of t squared gives us t. Square root of 4 squared gives us plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2. But remember, our value for t is greater than 0. So scratch this. Our answer is going to be only positive 2. T is equal to positive 2. Okay. Geometry problems, not my strong point. Let's see. A summer camp counselor wants to find a length x in feet across a lake. Okay. The lengths represented by AB, EB, BD, and CD were determined to be 1800, 1400, 700, and 800. So I'm going to start filling in these terms. I'm going to do that first. I'm going to say AB 1800. I'm just going to write 18 just to keep it simple. Trying to go through this quickly. We only have 5 minutes left. AB 18. EB was 1400. I'm going to write 14. BD 700. I'm going to write 7. Okay. And CD, what do you see? Is 800. I'm going to write 8. So we're looking for this term. We're looking for this term here, AE. What are we looking for? Let's see. We have angles A, EB, and CDB have the same measure, AEB. So this are equivalent, and we want to know what is the value of x. Okay, so we know these terms are equal, so we can say 8 over 7 is equal to this here, correlate with this value. So it's equal to 14. No, I'm sorry. Is equal to x over 14. All right, so I can see the denominator here is twice as large. I'm going to say 2 times 8 is equal to 16. 2 times 8 is equal to 16. X equals 16. Remember, these are in hundreds, though, so 16 hundreds. In other words, 1,600 is our answer. That's equal to x. 1,600 equals x. All right, 3 minutes, 3 questions. Let's see. According to the system equations above, what is the value of x? I'm just going to add the opposite of the first equation to the second equation. Cancel out the x's. So let's see. Negative x plus positive x is 0. Negative y plus 2y gives us y. Opposite of 9 is equal to 9. Positive 9 plus 25 is equal to minus 16. Correct? Yes, 16. Okay. In a right triangle, let's see. In a right triangle, one angle measures x degrees, or sine of x is equal to 4/5. It's been quite a while since I've taken a trigonometry class. I'm thinking cosine of 90 minus x is just going to be equal to this, but I'm going to draw a picture just to verify this for myself. So I'm going to say this is angle x 90, and sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so our opposite is going to be 4, hypotenuse is going to be 5, and this angle here, we can think of this as 180 total degrees in our triangle, minus this angle x, minus the angle 90, minus x minus 90. 180 minus 90, this is going to be equivalent to minus, let's see, we can think of this as 180 minus x plus 90 minus these two terms. So 180 minus 90 is going to be 90, 90 minus x. So we can think of this angle as 90 minus x. In other words, what we have right here. So cosine is equal to adjacent over the hypotenuse. Our adjacent here is going to be 4, and our hypotenuse is 5 equals 4/5. Good. So our answer is indeed 4/5. All right, question 20, last question. We have, looks like less than a minute. A equals 5 on the square root of 2, and 2 equals the square root of 2x. What is the value of x? So square root of 5 times the square root of 2 is equal to the square root of 2x. Square both sides. Squaring this side is going to, 2 times this is equal to this. This is twice as big as this. So let's see. Squaring this side gives 2x. Squaring this side gives 4 times 5 squared is 25. So 4 times 25 times 2. 200 equals 2x. Coming down to the wire. 100 equals x. Final answer. Good. So looks like I finished just barely in time with a few seconds to spare. So I was trying to explain these questions a bit as I was going through them. I think ideally you'd like to leave yourself a little bit of time to go back and check your answers. I would shoot for maybe trying to answer all 20 questions in 20 minutes, a minute per question, and then you'll have 5 minutes to go back and look over your answers. But I think the challenge of this test is the pace that you need to go through the questions, more so than the difficulty of the questions themselves. So like I said at the beginning, you're going to be better off maybe making a mistake or two and getting through all of the test, maybe getting every question right and only getting halfway through the test. So I'm going to go back and look through these answers, and if I find that I made any mistakes, I'll include an annotation in the video and let you know what I did wrong, and maybe that's something you can learn from as well. So hopefully I did all right. So I hope this video helped. I'm going to be doing a video on the second portion of this test as well, the calculator portion, which I believe is a good bit longer than this portion. So if it helped, go ahead and watch the second video, and best of luck. Thanks.